Hi guys, imagine walking into one of the busiest lounge in Lagos. You've heard so much about this place. You even brought your son because it's his first time. You've planned the night only for you to get to the entrance and you are hearing, "Sorry sir, we are fully booked." Now imagine you are the person standing at the entrance, handling the reservations and welcoming guests, knowing fully well that night you are fully booked, sold out, no single table. What will you do? Or would you find another way to create an unforgettable experience? This is Precision Hospitality Chronicles, where we uncover stories, lessons, and leadership behind luxury hospitality that guests never get to see. There was one busy weekend night at Zaza, Lagos. The place was completely sold out. I am not talking about almost full. I'm talking about the kind of night where we had already stopped accepting walking guests and we were moving them to the next day reservations. That was the kind of atmosphere. I was handling the reservations and welcoming guests when this gentleman and his son walked in. The moment they entered, my hostess gave them a very warm welcome that you could already tell they felt comfortable. But I smiled and said my usual, "Good evening, sir." And I turned to the son, "How are you?" And they both respond. Then I said, "Do you have a reservation with us?" He said, "No. Actually, it's my first time here and I brought my son to experience Zaza." Hey! Immediately, I already knew we have a problem. And remember, there's no single table. But what I did was I still had to tell one of the hostess to go and help me double check, which she did and came back to give me what I was expecting. Of course, nothing. I explained the situation to the man. What amazed me was he didn't even shout, he wasn't rude, he wasn't demanding for special treatment. Instead, he leaned closer and quickly said something that I will never forget. He said, "This is my first time here and I promised my son I was going to give him that Zaza experience. Please, I do not want to disappoint him." That statement hit me differently because I understand what it means to be a father. Not everyone grows up having that kind of experience with their father. Some only remember church service or family meetings. To hear the father simply saying that he wants to give his son one special night, that stayed with me. And at that moment, I had two responsibilities. One, to protect the business. Two, to protect the guest experience. And honestly, I already told him that there's nothing I could do. He nodded, turned around and was walking towards the exit. Then something inside me said, "No, there has to be another way." I called him and I said, "Sir, what if I can't give you a table, but I can still give your son that Zaza experience?" He looked at me and I said, "If you don't mind standing at the bar, I will personally allow you and your son to go and stand so that your son can have that Zaza experience." Immediately, I saw the excitement in his face. He smiled, his son smiled, and they accepted. No table, no VIP treatments, just experience. Sometimes that's all what people are looking for. The beautiful part of this story didn't happen that night. It happened the next day. Before leaving Nigeria, he said he was going to come back, which he did as he has promised. And he looked for me and handed me some jersey his company produced. In fact, I'm even wearing one right now. And whenever I wear this jersey, it reminds me something that I feel every hospitality professional should understand. Most guests might forget the table they sat on, or they might even forget the drink they order, but they will never forget how you made them feel. But see, hospitality is not just only about serving food and taking reservations. It's also about understanding people, learning to read emotions, and thinking beyond the obvious. See, pressure will always come. Busy nights will happen. Definitely, guests will complain, of course. But if you train yourself to stay calm, and look for solutions instead of excuses. Become the person guests asked for by name. And when a guest comes back because of you, not just for the venue, hey, you have built something more valuable than transaction. You have built trust. To every hospitality professionals and hospitality owner, please listen. Your building may attract first time, but your people determines whether the guest will return. So invest in training. Empower your frontline staff to solve problems with wisdom. When you treat people with dignity, you are not just creating customers. You are creating stories they will tell long after they left your business. If you've ever worked in hospitality or you've ever experienced that moment as a guest, share your experience in the comments section. Let's learn. And don't forget to subscribe and join me for another episode of Precious Hospitality Chronicles, where we uncover stories, lessons, and leadership behind luxury hospitality that guests never get to see. And if you're a good employer looking for great employee, send me a DM. And if you're a great employee looking for good employers, send me a DM. Because a great business needs great people, and great workers need employers who values them. Udo.